This is honestly the first podcast we've recorded in Cave Creek.
Oh,
Well,
Yeah, I've done an episode with Brett Vibber from previously of Cartwrights,
Right.
but not at the location.
oh, nice.
Yeah. So welcome.
thank you.
Yeah.
Having.
Cave Creek's a cool place to come to.
It's really cool. And I always, when I come here, and I'm not that far away. We were just talking about where I'm actually kind of embarrassed I'm not here more often.
Oh, no.
No, it's great. It's a great, I mean, as you're coming, I came from the other way. I came from the east, and just different restaurants and bars, and it's
Yeah.
a great place.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a destination.
Yeah.
And
John.
it's a little cooler here too.
It
just
is.
by like 5 degrees, 10 degrees sometimes.
That's a big
Yeah.
that's a big difference
Yeah.
though. Yeah. Especially in your back with the smokers where it's 140,
Oh yeah,
right?
Oh yeah, no, it's not any cooler in here.
Well, before we get too ahead of ourselves, let's meet you guys. Let's introduce you, your name and what your role is here.
Oh, I'm Bryan Dooley. I'm the chef and owner of Bryan's Black Mountain BBQ.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And you?
Donna Dooley, owner, co-owner of Bryans BBQ,
Yeah.
and I do everything else.
I was gonna say jack of all trades, like
Yes.
everything else is covered.
I float.
You,
I'm a floater.
Well, basically, I'm the food person,
Yeah.
and she's the people person.
Okay.
And we make a perfect team.
sure.
I would, you come in, you taste the food. That's me. You come in and you feel the atmosphere and the great feeling, the welcoming feeling and all that. That's Donna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a key combo though, right?
yeah.
Food and
Yeah.
beverage.
Yeah.
Create that experience.
I was always front of the house when
Okay.
our previous life,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he was always back of the house. So yeah,
Why not keep that rocking,
yeah,
right?
it just kind of stuck.
Yeah. Well, I would have to say you guys excel at both sides of the house, right? Yeah. As you're walking in, you got the giant pig right there. My favorite thing, honestly, is what is that exactly? Just a place.
counter.
The
Yeah.
counter. It's just like
Yeah.
a circular
We have
covered.
stools, and
Okay.
yeah, it's just extra seating.
It's a great place to, sit and enjoy the weather, enjoy the food, and watch the cars go by. But the reason we have that there, the way that started was we had this beautiful, huge saguaro cactus right in front of our restaurant.
Okay.
And in order to protect the cactus itself and protect the people from the cactus, we decided to build a bar around it and leave it right there, yeah.
we
That's
needed
awesome.
additional seating,
And we needed
that
additional
was
seating.
the
And it
way
was-
to make that happen.
Yeah, and the cactus is right in the middle of our patio. So we figured, we had a bunch of ideas, and that was the best way to, like I said, protect the cactus and the people at the same time.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. My high school science teacher, Mr. Kazi, would be so proud. Like he was, he had a tree that was growing into his house, and he refused to
Yeah.
take the tree down. And
Yeah.
But I mean, that is that is classic Cave Creek, though, right? You got this
Yeah.
beautiful sward, Southwest, I guess you should say, but. I love it because I always think I look at it and I'm like, all right, does somebody slip under there and they serve from in there, but they got to be away from the
We've
cactus.
thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and then at night we have it's lit up with green LED lights, so it's kind of a beacon to draw you in. Also, this bright green cactus right in front of the restaurant at night. So
I dig it. And we haven't even stepped indoor to smell this beautiful smell by that point, right?
Right.
Yeah,
This is
right.
the day off too, right?
Yeah.
So
we
does that
always
mean-
thought that I should have some sort of pipe the smoke out the front door, onto the patios.
Yeah.
Because our smoker's in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the progress of that, Brian?
I know. It's smoky enough in here as it is. I don't know.
It smells amazing.
Yeah.
It really does. Well, let's back up a little bit. So you were saying before we start recording, you guys neither of you are originally from Arizona.
No.
Right?
I'm from Chicago originally,
okay.
and Donna's from
I'm
Texas.
From Texas.
Okay. Okay.
And we actually met in a restaurant in Texas. We were both working in a restaurant down in Galveston, Texas, on the beach.
Which I've heard is a pretty awesome place. At one point it was. Still might be.
I think.
I
Well,
don't know.
we haven't been back in years, but I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always going to be a beautiful
We
place.
loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but before, like in Chicago, let's start with you,
Yeah,
Brian.
yeah.
Like in Chicago, where was food in your life, like growing up? Like, was that always part of the family?
Oh man, yeah, definitely. I was very fortunate to have an entire family of great cooks
Okay.
on both sides of my family.
Nice.
So I was always growing up around food. and none of them cook professionally. I'm the first one to cook professionally, but just being around it all the time, and it was always kind of, in the background in my genetics.
What kind of food? Like what was the family backgrounds?
So I guess the barbecue side of it. My grandfather on my mother's side was from Alabama.
Okay.
So we had a lot of Southern type food in the house. We all lived in Chicago. He's been in Chicago most of his life, but his background, was in Alabama, and so we always had barbecue and fried chicken and grits and black-eyed peas and biscuits and gravy, and we just kind of grew up with that, and so that's really always been, in the back of my mind.
Okay. It's a foundation, right?
Definitely foundation. So I guess that's kind of like the source of the barbecue part of it. But as far as all the food, I mean, the food, every kind of food, everybody cooked, and everybody was a great cook.
Yeah.
They were definitely.
Yeah.
Well, what for
my parents, all great cooks. Yeah.
But nobody pursued it
nobody pursued it, and I actually didn't even. I kind of accidentally came into this field.
Okay.
I actually went to school here at NAU to be a photographer. So
is that how you came to Arizona?
I came to Arizona to be a photographer. I loved it up there. I wanted to be a landscape photographer. Nice. Like Ansel Adams, who was my hero.
Yeah. Nice.
But I did that, and then getting out of school, realized that there weren't a lot of jobs to be a landscape photographer.
Yeah.
And I really didn't want to be a wedding photographer or something like that. Like I said, Donna's a people person. You want
to be out in the wilderness.
I want to be out in the wilderness,
beautiful pictures.
Taking pictures. So I was like, what the heck, this isn't what I want to do. So I kind of stumbled into cooking, and realized I really liked it. And then went to culinary school, went to the Culinary Institute of America in New York.
Okay.
And then got out of there and realized, well, then I met Donna right before I went to school.
And what was your path up to that point? Like in Texas, like we're family food, same thing?
Oh yeah, I grew up there. Grew up in Texas, and I love to eat.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
I'm not the best cook, but I do love to eat.
Okay.
So
but also good cooks love people who love to eat.
Yes.
Right? Like we are cherished by folks like Bryan, you know?
Exactly. Yes, definitely.
Well, and chefs like to be with people that like to eat.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, and I've always said it, and she's laughing because I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it here. If you're passionate about food, you're passionate about everything.
Oh, okay, okay.
If you meet somebody that loves to eat and enjoys food and truly enjoys that, they're going to be passionate about everything in their life.
I dig that.
Yeah,
I dig that.
It's like a window into their soul.
Yeah.
When you see someone eat, it's a window into their soul.
Yeah. Man, that's a good that.
And let me tell you, when I met Donna, she could eat.
Yeah.
Serious.
There's our story. There's got to be at least one story, right? I ate 75 wings one time. So, Donna, what is your story?
Oh, my. You did?
I did.
75?
I think it was. So, I've done two things, and the numbers were in the 70s. I did a keg stand for, I think, 73 seconds at one time at a party. And I ate, I think, 78 wings. Or it was vice versa, 78 and 73. I went home that night, and I was laying in bed, and this was in high school. Like, so one of the players were, high school football, and one of the players, dads was like, hey, he's like, I'll buy all your wings. Like, eat as many as you can. And everyone's cheering me on. I killed it. And then I got home that night, and I'm laying in bed, and I'm like, I think there's a bone in my stomach. Like, I think a bone slipped in because it just was sharp pain, but it was just all the hot wings that I ate.
Oh my gosh.
So,
That's hysterical.
Donna has a few stories like that. Not with chicken wings.
I would say the one that sticks out in my head was when we were first dating, and we would go to, being on an island on the beach, we'd go to a lot of seafood places, and I would order what I would order, and she would always order like the captain's platter,
Seriously.
And it had like 50 different things, and it was piled with fries, and it was like 3 times as big as mine.
Yeah.
And then she would polish it all off, and then she would look at my plate and say, "Are you gonna eat those fries?"
Hey, I'm
ate
impressed.
so much
nice
food.
work.
Yeah.
Nice work.
Thank goodness I had a high metabolism.
Yeah.
Because I would just.
So when we would across the country, or up in Amarillo, there was the Big Texan where they have to eat the 72-ounce steak.
Yeah.
He wanted me to do it so bad.
I know, because
You didn't do it, huh?
I knew she would
didn't
have.
stop.
She could have done it back then.
We wanted a T-shirt.
Well, I feel like
Win a
those.
t-shirt.
Yeah, I mean a t-shirt. I mean, they don't just give those T-shirts out, right? They don't sell them. Do they
Yeah.
sell? They shouldn't.
I
sell
don't
'em,
know.
no.
You have to
Earn
eat
it.
the steak.
Gotta earn it, yeah. Well, I picture that, and I've never done it. I've never seen it done, like, besides on TV. But it doesn't look like it's going to be the best cut of steak, right?
Right.
So not only
Gnarly.
not only is it going to be a lot to consume, but it's going to be
There's going to be some gristle.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
the movie John Candy.
yes,
Yes.
yeah. Was that
Eat
the
the
Great
grit.
Outdoors?
Yeah.
Eat the gristle.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't do it, Donna.
Yeah,
So,
no, me too.
well, for you, how did food become like the path as far as a career goes?
Well, I guess, accidentally.
Okay.
Yeah, I just when we met, we were both working at a seafood Guido's in Galveston, Texas,
Okay.
and that's where we met. And it was just kind of a job for me. I was young. I was 19, 20, and
Okay.
then. Yeah, and I met him, and he was going to culinary school, or about to, and I just, I kind of just always floated around, and I worked in restaurants always. Yeah,
Like you like the culture, like you like
yeah.
the kind of the,
There's something about it
Yeah.
that drives certain personality types.
Yeah.
because every day is very different. It's also can be super exciting work.
yeah.
Well, that's one of the things that why
It's-
I like it, because I'm naturally a really mellow person, and it really energizes me.
Yeah.
I need
Yeah.
a job that like pumps me up,
Okay,
and gets
yeah.
me going.
But it is
Nice.
every day is super different.
Sure.
I'm also super social, so you get that all day, and
Yeah.
and a lot of contact with
Yeah.
people, and I don't know. I enjoyed it. I didn't expect it to end up to be my life. I didn't know that it wasn't a plan when I was young. I
Sure.
want to own a restaurant.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But then met him, and yeah.
yeah.
And then we both worked at the Scottsdale Princess for many, many years.
That's what brought you guys out to Arizona.
Back
Okay.
to Arizona. He had already
okay,
been.
that's right, yeah,
I
yeah.
wanted to leave Texas, and
Okay.
he said, "How about Arizona?" And I said, "Sure."
Well, after like I said, I went to NAU,
Yeah.
graduated from there, and I was home for a few years and went to school again.
Yeah.
And trying to figure out how the heck am I going to get back to Arizona? And
Right.
being a chef, you can work anywhere.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta-
Like with resorts and everything.
all over the world. I mean,
Yeah.
you have kind of like a ticket to travel, and
Yeah.
I got a great job at the Princess and ended up working there 13 years.
Ah, yeah.
Worked all over. Great experience, and it gave us the background, the foundation that we needed to do our own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is nice when you're in a resort because you don't get bored of one place. You can always transfer to a different department or a different restaurant. There were 4 restaurants there, so we
Yeah.
could, and he worked in pretty much every. He
Yeah.
worked in every restaurant.
Yeah. I was going to say if you're valuable and if you're, and I guess sometimes I wouldn't say to a fault, but, people asking you, hey, Bryan, can you help with this? Hey, Bryan, can you help?
Yeah.
Which is great. I mean, for experience and for,
yeah.
for all of that and knowing that,
He was lead saucier for a while, and
yeah.
it was a lot of experience.
Well, so how did it start at the Princess? Like, how did that, I mean, that was the first big gig as far as cooking for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I started out as a cook in
Okay.
their Marquesa restaurant, which was a Spanish Catalan Spanish restaurant, which doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
Worked there for 3 years under some great chefs. Got a lot of great experience. Getting the experience working in a fast kitchen, and all that. And then, like she said, I became a saucier. Worked in banquets, did all kinds of stuff.
What exactly is a saucier?
Saucier is the chef that makes all the sauces. I mean, basically
Okay.
all the sauces, soups,
Yeah.
stocks, everything.
Huge big kettles and
Yeah.
bones.
Which is
and-
a pretty cool behind the scenes kind of
Sure.
of experience, and then moved on to work in the restaurants. Became chef at some of the restaurant. And then from there, moved did that for about 6 years, and then I moved back into the banquet kitchen, and I was a chef of the saucier or the garde manger department, which is all the cold foods. You do all the fruit plates and the cheese plates and the big fancy things and salads and all that. So a little bit of everything. I
was going to say that kind of highlights the complexity that goes into something like that, right? Where there's like and this is me. This is me coming from a beer and barbecue background and French fries. But like, dude, French fries, like chili cheese fries, are my thing. My wife jokes about it all the time. But like for me, it's like, man, there's a chef that makes just the sauces. Oh, there's somebody. There's a department that does just the fruit plates. Like that shows how incredible. And I'm sure as a future business owner, how valuable that was to see.
Oh, yeah.
That. And then from your side too, front of the house.
Yeah.
Right. That was,
Yeah. You learned something from every single person you work with, every manager, every staff member, just.
And then working for a
awesome.
hotel, especially a Fairmont hotel, is very service oriented.
Yeah.
Very structured. Very, and there's a lot of good and bad as far as we had a lot of decisions to make when we opened our own as to what parts of that we wanted to continue doing and what parts we didn't.
Yeah.
But it was a really great, say, proving ground or training ground, to do our own thing.
Yeah.
But a lot of great experience.
For sure. I like that. I like that because for years I was always like, all right, when I get away from this job I hate, never going to look back. And then once I quit, I'm like, all right, I'm forgetting everything I knew about that. But now things start trickling in. I'm like, oh, wow, a software system that keeps all of my clients, that keeps all of our guests and all this stuff. So those things, you get to a point where you do have to make that decision. Like, okay, I can implement this, but I don't have to implement this.
Right.
So, big question: where was barbecue this whole time? Like, so was it still at home? Right?
No, exactly.
Yeah, you're like, how'd you end up with a
Well, I love
barbecue
it though. I
restaurant?
love it. Yeah.
So how it all went down. Basically, I've always had it in my blood.
Okay,
like I said,
sure.
Since I was a little kid, I was bellying up to the barbecue, watching my grandfather cooking ribs and my uncles and stuff cooking ribs, and all that. And
Was there? Sorry to interrupt, but was there a style? Like, was there?
it was more of a Southern style.
As far as like, because I'm just learning about barbecue and offset smokers, and rotisseries and all that. So, what approach was it that you grew up with?
Very traditional, just burning wood and burning it down, building a platform with cement blocks.
Okay.
And then putting a grate down, putting the ribs over those coals.
Yeah.
And cooking it, that way. Very, very old school style.
I grew up with pig roasts too.
Yeah.
We had pig.
Yeah.
We'd have
And then as they built different houses and things like that, they built actual, out of bricks and stuff, the same setup, basically, but
a built-in badass setup.
badass, yeah. And then
They had a big crank and they would
Yeah.
lower the racks down.
and then burned a bunch of wood down and and do it very traditional. That's the way I learned to do it.
Okay, I like that.
So barbecue, I guess, was always, like I said, it's always been in the background.
Yeah.
And I've always loved doing it at home. And a lot of all of the recipes and all of the things that we do here in the restaurant, I developed in my backyard. Over the years while I was still working at the hotel.
Yeah. Okay.
And with no intention of doing anything with it.
Yeah.
I was just fiddling around. It was just like what I did on my day off,
Sure.
Well, so
He would stay up all night smoking meat and listening to blues music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beer
Sitting
too.
in the,
beer?
beer.
Yeah.
Sitting in the backyard all night long.
All night long, yeah. And I spent years doing
For
that.
years.
And just perfecting what my idea of what barbecue should be.
Yeah.
So,
He studied every style of sauce, rub.
I made thousands of things.
Thousands.
Sauces.
We ate so much barbecue.
That's what I was worried about. I'm like, Donna loves food, and you're neglecting her with barbecue. I just want to make sure you were covered during those his exploration years. So
Our kids were little, and they would stand up like on a milk crate, and they would be pouring beer into the pot, and and they were helping me mixing things, and they were from when they were really little, tasting everything. And what do you think about this?
And this was just
for fun.
For fun.
For fun, because like I said, my background as a chef is fine dining.
Yeah.
I went to the Culinary Institute of America. My background is training as a chef, as traditional chef.
Yeah.
And then all my experience in restaurants was basically fine dining.
Yeah.
And then doing barbecue on the side in my backyard just to have fun because I've always been drawn to my favorite styles of music. It's music too.
Yeah. I love music as well.
My favorite styles of foods are like those American Cajun food, barbecue, things like that.
Something that has like some characteristic to it that kind of
yeah, that's always the kind of food that I'm drawn to.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I'm always cooking either barbecue or Cajun type food.
Those are two of my favorites,
At
Bryan.
home,
Man,
yeah.
I'm
Yes.
And
falling more in love
it's
with
just-
this place.
it
He
just-
makes an amazing gumbo.
Oh.
It just ended up being,
He can cook anything.
we could have opened up any kind of restaurant. It just happened to be that we were in a barbecue mood when we opened up this one.
Well, and we live here, and we also wanted to. There was nowhere. There was not another restaurant that specifically specialized in barbecue here
In Cave Creek.
in Cave
Yeah.
Creek.
Okay.
There are places that have barbecue on the menu.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
but to actually just specialize in that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we felt, that maybe there was an opening for that here.
And even in the valley, we
At the
opened in
time.
2009. At the time, there was some,
Yeah.
There were a few. Joe's was open. That was one of
Yeah,
our.
you just did a
Yeah.
podcast with
We
Joe's.
did. Yeah.
That was one of our favorites. It still is.
Yeah. Great
Haps
spot.
was around.
Actually, just to give Joe credit, a big influence on
Yes.
our feel. Food, whatever, beyond the food, which is great at Joe's, you walk in and it's an experience.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so we really wanted to, and we took a lot from that.
We ate there a lot.
And we were like, you know what? You know what's
was great.
Research. Research. Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? I don't have any doubts about the food. I felt really strong about our food, what we were working on and
Okay.
all that. I felt really strong about the recipes and all that. I said,
Yeah.
but we really need to create a place that has an atmosphere.
Yeah.
And an atmosphere that really spoke Cape Creek.
Yeah.
And that's really, was influenced by that.
Where do you start with that? Right. Like what
Well-
it's like, okay, we came to that conclusion. Now
Yeah.
what? Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Then it was just finding a location. That was
Sure.
hard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, before we jump in, let's back up a little bit. So, cooking, you're barbecuing in the backyard.
Barbecuing in the backyard and just doing it for fun.
Yeah.
And then so what happened was we went out ice skating. This has come back around. So we went out ice skating with one of our relatives, and I was like playing with my son, and we're like kind of chasing each other around a little bit, and someone zoomed in front of me, and I like stopped to not run into him.
Yeah.
And I fell backwards, and I broke my ankle.
Ah.
And it all happened like in a split second.
Yeah.
So I said, oh man, and my leg was swelling up. I didn't know it was broken. I was like, oh man, and I pulled off the skate, and my ankle swelled up, and I was like, oh, it's probably just sprained.
Yeah.
I went home, went to bed, got up the next morning. I went to go to work. I stepped out of the bed. I stepped on my ankle, and I fell on my face.
Oh man.
And I realized it was broken, and Donna said, I got to take you to the hospital. So
Yeah.
we went, ended up being that I broke my ankle.
Yeah. And this is
And-
why you're at the
I'm at the hotel.
Princess.
I'm at the hotel, yeah. And obviously, I get there in a cast now.
Yeah.
And I can't work. I go to, I just broke my ankle, and so I was off for a couple of months.
Yeah.
And during that time, this is where Donna really comes in.
Not
And-
just the eating.
She said to me, "Do you really want to go back and do that? Why don't you open up that restaurant you've been talking about doing?"
Why did you ask him at that point? Like, what was it that triggered?
Well, I had him trapped. He couldn't do
You're not
anything.
going anywhere.
He was stuck. He couldn't drive. He couldn't do anything because it was his right foot. And anyway.
Oh, sure.
And he had
Yeah.
this huge cast on. He couldn't do anything. So he was just stuck in the house. And
Yeah.
So he was trapped. And so I,
And had you been talking about this restaurant?
for years.
Yeah.
Just,
Okay.
We didn't know exactly what we were going to do exactly, but we knew that.
Oh, just a restaurant. So this wasn't even
restaurant.
like
It
a
wasn't
barbecue.
even a
Okay.
barbecue
Okay.
restaurant.
Gotcha.
We just knew we wanted to do our own thing one day.
So your plan comes together. Your son injures your husband at the ice rink. As I'm listening to that story,
Yeah.
I'm thinking when you said ice rink, I went to the ice rink one time and I was on the floor 90% of the time. My wife was like, "You've tried, like," but so I feel you, man. I feel you.
Well,
So
I grew up in the Midwest. We skated a lot,
Yeah.
I thought, yeah, hey, I can
He
still
was
do
trying
this.
not to crush the little boy that
sure, yeah,
zipped in
You know.
front of him.
Yeah.
Then he just,
It just happened.
poor thing.
But
But anyway, he was trapped. So
yeah. So you
that
got
was
him.
the time. And we would drive, he couldn't drive, so I would drive him through town and we would look for locations.
Okay.
Like we went everywhere.
my leg out the window.
Yeah. Nice.
We were driving around.
Was it a nice time of year at least? Probably. Most likely. Unless it was one of
the
those
beginning.
other 4 months.
I think I broke it
remember
like
when
in
we started.
February or something
Okay.
like that.
Oh,
February or March.
okay. Okay.
So he's just lounging, and you guys are
And we're just driving around. At the
And
time,
lived at
I was
Cave
a
Creek.
stay-at-home mom.
okay.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
lived
well,
here.
we lived, yeah.
Yeah, we lived in Cave Creek, and so we would look at locations, and and then we.
Well, the thing is that we,
called our realtor, and
and then we got serious about it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, and while we were doing all this talking, I'm like, I have all those recipes for the barbecue that I've been just playing around with.
Yeah.
Why don't we just do that?
yeah, he can cook anything.
Yeah.
So we knew it. Whatever he does, it's good. Any style. He
Sure.
makes amazing German food, like anything. He can do anything. Asian, it doesn't matter because his background is so strong.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then we just chose kind of what we felt that the town needed, and
Sure.
and that would be fun. We knew we didn't want to do fine dining.
Okay. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
definitely wanted something more casual, relaxed.
Well,
Kind of fits Cave Creek, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Right.
living here for all those years before we opened it, we had a really good feeling as to what it needed, and that was a really good big benefit to us.
Sure.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So-
You are your own research
Yeah.
group,
Yeah.
right? Like what
Right.
would I want?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
We
barbecue.
knew we wanted to be up here because there's something about Cave Creek. It's one of those towns that has this energy, and there's certain towns all over the world, all over the country, that draws everybody in.
Sure.
And there's certain
Yeah.
energy in those towns, and
Yeah.
like this town is a crazy mix of, cowboys, bikers, artists, chefs, multi-billionaires,
Yeah.
famous people, every walk of life. But for some
Yeah.
reason, they all find something in the energy here.
Yeah.
There's something, without sounding weird, there's something about Cave Creek.
Yeah.
And we knew we wanted to be here.
Yeah.
And something was drawing us here too.
I dig it.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. Like
Yeah.
we've come up a few times to like the rodeo night,
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
just incredible.
So fun.
Such a
I
great
know.
time, and everybody. It's not like I grew up in rural Ohio. I know what it's like to get a bunch of cowboys together drinking, right?
yeah.
But it's not rowdy. Like it's
Yeah.
at least I get out of there on at
Well,
like
it can
10
be.
o'clock. Yeah, I'm sure. But it does. It has a cool vibe to it, and it just seems like. It's just a place people come to just enjoy themselves.
And that's
just
the other thing
you
is
know?
people. It's a destination, so
Yeah.
people just come up here and they're in a good mood, and they're it's like I said, it's a little cooler.
Yeah.
It's a little greener.
Yeah,
It's a little bit different. It's a little funky. It's
a little bit of country,
a little bit of
rock and roll.
Right?
Yeah, no, exactly. That's
Yeah.
what it is. And so, not to interrupt, but like everything was just coming together.
Yeah, yeah,
We wanted to open a restaurant, though we knew it was going to be here. I broke my leg. I finally was off this roller coaster that I didn't have time to start thinking about it. And
Sure.
Then we found this place.
So you told the realtor, "Hey, we want to be in this area. Like this is what we're looking
We
for."
want to be right here in the center of Cave Creek.
She found this, Jen.
This happened to be
Yep.
open.
Yeah. So what was this when you guys came into it?
There was several things. We kind of combined several things. That wall was a solid wall there, where the kitchen is back there.
Okay.
And that was one. It was like a sandwich shop back there, but there was no equipment or anything in
Okay.
there. It was just sort of had some hot plates and stuff in there.
Gotcha.
And then this was like a gallery and a real estate place.
Okay, so a couple different units. And
Yeah.
yeah. Gotcha.
And then we combined them, and just kind of went this direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you guys think when you? So was it? It wasn't like that when you bought it. Did you have to
Oh
visualize?
no, we did everything. We had to visualize everything.
Yeah, you had to do
everything.
like the home and garden shows where they do the little
Oh, yeah.
iPad thing.
Yes.
We did. We sat down. I sat down with first restaurant equipment person, and I kind of explained to him exactly what I think I need,
Yeah.
and we just started drawing things out, and then we got the architects involved, and
Did you have a
Yeah.
name at that point? Did you guys know what it
We
was?
were working on that.
We were
Okay.
working on it, and we had a million different ideas. And my grandfather, who I was talking about the barbecuing,
Yeah.
just for the heck of it, I said, "Hey, Grandpa, what do you think we should name the restaurant?" And he said, "Oh, let me think about it." And I have a lot of respect for him because he was a great businessman, very successful. So I knew whatever he came back with was going to be, something.
Yeah.
So it was like a couple of months, and he came back and he said, "How about Bryan's BBQ?" And I was like, "Grandpa, you didn't even think about it. That's horrible. That's horrible." but then we were like talking, and he's like, "Yeah, Bryan or Bryan's Black Mountain BBQ, because this is Black Mountain right here. This is
Okay.
Black Mountain right here."
Okay.
And the more I thought about it, I'm like, he's a genius.
Yeah.
It tells who, where, and what
Yeah.
right there, and it's like it's perfect.
Yeah.
And Bryan's Black Mountain BBQ. It tells everything in one sentence.
So
It's like
Bryan's
the whole story.
barbecue was just a starting point for him, right? And then you
Yeah.
got to kind of start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like
exactly.
that.
So
And we're
that's
like,
what
yeah,
I'm
we
talking
faced
about.
Black Mountain.
Because we had all kinds of funky ideas,
Sure.
like, Cape Creek Barbecue Company. That just sounds,
Yeah.
whatever. But,
Yeah.
but he was right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
and,
like
and,
it.
And there's something about putting your name and your face on a product,
Yeah.
and now it becomes super important.
Sure.
Everything that goes out has my name on it now.
Yeah.
That actually gives me more pressure.
Yeah.
They
They know how to call. They can't just say, "Hey, chef." They're like, "Bryan."
Bryan.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's true. And everybody that comes in, I'm on the line every day.
Yeah.
I'm right there in the window, and I see every single plate that goes out of this restaurant.
Yeah.
And every person that comes in and talks to Donna and I, and that's part of it.
Yeah. I dig it. It's
And
like
then-
I don't know if you're familiar with Helton Brewery in Phoenix.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing. He's like, my name is literally on this sign that's on Indian School.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Helton. And that's pressure. That's
There's nothing to hide behind. When your name is on the door, there is nothing
Yeah.
to hide behind. And
Yeah.
I have to make sure that I'm here every day, making sure that everything that says Bryan on it
Yeah.
is worth going out.
Even those dang hot jalapenos.
Yeah.
Killer jalapeno.
He's like, that wasn't me. That wasn't me on that one. All right.
But now that I know,
Yeah. So you find a location and you kind of start like, how did it take a long time? Because I know some towns are really good. Sometimes they're not,
It was
everything in between.
brutal.
it took a long time.
Yeah.
It took us from beginning of talking about it to opening the doors. It was about 2 years.
Okay. Okay.
Which I think
you
is a
opened
long
in
time.
2009.
2009.
That is a long time. That
We
is
opened
yeah.
March 27th, 2009.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which, and you guys seem like you would be prepared as well. So, it's not like I could see it taking a long time if you're just kind of going into it and throwing shit together, but if
yeah.
you go into it prepared, and it can still take a long time.
And we made a lot of decisions along the way. We got started. As soon as we started remodeling and all that, it kind of grew organically,
Yeah.
Walking around. I was here since I had a broken leg and I wasn't working and all that. I was here every single day from
yeah.
building, and I'd walk around with contractors and stuff, and we would make changes on the fly throughout the thing to make everything exactly the way we wanted it, and then I'd go home and Donna and I would have discussions about it, and we'd go back the next day and we'd make changes, and
Yeah.
we wanted it to be perfect.
I like the plan though. Like the plan is like, okay, what are we going to fill the walls with? Well, we're going to have to start winning awards.
Well,
I love it. Though. This is incredible.
That was never the plan.
Sure, yeah.
And it's kind of the way when you say it like that, it's kind of embarrassing because
No,
that
no,
really-
I know. That
it really
wasn't my
wasn't-
intent.
There really wasn't why I don't hang them up there because hey, look at me.
No.
What I realized, I hung the first one up, and I realized that customers would come in and they would stand there and read them, and then they would bring their family in and they would say, hey, come over here and look at this.
Yeah.
And then they would bring family in. They'd come, a lot of snowbirds. They'd come back in town, and they'd bring more people in, and they'd say, "Look at this place that we found, and look
Yeah.
at all these things on here." So
Sure.
it just really inspired me to keep putting them up, like that.
Yeah.
And like I said, it really wasn't because I want, I'm like, oh, hey, look
No,
at me.
no.
But it really, people love it.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I love it too.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Don and I are very proud of everything that.
Yeah.
People that love it and.
Well, it tells the story, right? It tells the story, and the way I look at things like that is it's not a, hey, look what I did. It's more of that's another thing you're providing you're adding another level of depth to the experience for them, right? Now they feel more connected. Not only is like, oh wow, those people were really nice, and that food was really good. Oh, now here you can read a story, you know, you learn about them, you know,
because we really didn't go into it for any of this.
Sure,
You
yeah,
know?
We thought that we had opened something. We didn't anticipate being busy really,
Okay.
and so we kind of thought that it felt huge, like
Okay.
we had built this big restaurant all of a sudden.
like how are we
And-
gonna fill it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it wasn't. It's not big enough
Sure, yeah,
to be, but
Yeah.
it was. So I don't know. It's just
We did it because we wanted to do it, and
Yeah.
we didn't do it for any sort of accolades or anything.
No.
All we did it was because we love cooking. I love cooking.
Yeah.
We love to do this. We don't know anything else.
Sure.
You know, what else am I going to do? You know.
Yeah.
And so we just did it, and just threw it out there, and everybody loved it. You know,
Yeah.
and we're super proud of that.
Well, 12 years now, right? Is it 12
Almost
years?
13, yeah.
Almost 13 years.
Yeah.
And it seems like you guys still love it. Like you still, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
that's,
Oh, yeah.
That's why you create something like this, right?
Yeah,
Is to-
it's certainly
yeah.
not. I'll tell you what, it's certainly not easy.
Sure. Yeah.
We're not.
You
the,
have to love
We're
it.
not the kind of.
Yeah.
because it'll.
We are not
They
the
will.
kind of restaurant owners that are phoning it in.
No.
We are here every day. I am here 14 hours a day, every single day that we're open, and I'm here on my days off every day.
Yeah.
Not sometimes because I have to, but because I want to be.
Yeah.
You know, and
You got to get your daily sniff in.
and Donna's here almost as much as I am,
Yeah.
and it's because we need to be, and we want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I dig it. I dig
it's
it.
important to us.
Yeah.
You know.
So, gonna open menu. Where do you start with a menu?
Well, our idea was to have a small menu as possible
Okay.
so that we can make sure everything is perfect.
Yeah.
That was really what it is. And we wanted to hit all of the not all of them, but a lot of the basic barbecue things that we thought were important. So,
Sure.
Ribs, chicken, our choices were ribs, chicken, brisket, and pork.
Okay. I like those.
Yeah, yeah.
Good choices. Good start.
I mean, there's other mixtures, but those are the ones that we chose.
Yeah.
And then, potato salad, coleslaw, beans. Those were the things that fries we put on under duress, but we put fries on there. We weren't even
He
going to.
hates making fries.
I don't even
And I was
eat.
just talking about.
I don't even eat
I know, I
fries.
know.
But we weren't even going to put a fryer in this restaurant, and then we had so many people say, "You're going to put fries on the menu, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Well, no." And they're like, "Why not?"
This is a fries town. Like
Yeah.
you gotta have fries. Yeah.
You know? So it went from okay, I'll put a space in there for a fryer to okay, I'll put a fryer to okay, we'll put fries on there.
Yeah.
So and we sell a ton of fries, and
Yeah.
everybody loves them. So it was a good choice.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really. But basically, really, the idea for the menu was to keep it as small and simple as possible.
Okay.
And then slowly over the years, we've added a few things. The few things that were missing.
Yeah.
We've added vegetarian items. We're pretty famous for our vegetarian items here.
Okay. Nice.
Salads. We do, baked potato
Cornbread.
salad, cornbread. Rotating specials. We've done a lot more in the past, but try to mix it up for people that hear all the time.
Yeah.
But basically, our core menu is the menu.
Okay.
And the core menu, yeah.
And what did you do as far as like the smoke? Like how do you smoke it back there?
We have it's an Old Hickory
Okay.
smoker from Missouri.
Okay. Is that a wood like offset type of smoker?
It's it's wood gas.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Fraser's. Like I know how Fraser's has the
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. It's a typical for like what most modern, barbecue places have.
Yeah. So it's being smoked by the wood, but it's like
Yeah,
you got
exactly.
that
But the
propane
heat,
to,
yeah.
to get you rocking. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but basically, we
Any
just,
particular wood? And any,
pecan wood.
Okay, for
Yeah.
everything.
Pecan wood for everything.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
And we just chose that because it's a softer smoke,
Okay.
and it's a local wood.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pecan groves around Arizona here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you exclusively use Arizona pecan
Yep.
wood? Or-
Yeah, yeah.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. I think people don't really. It took me years to realize, like driving down, and I hope this is right because otherwise I'm gonna sound real dumb. But driving down the 10 towards Tucson, there's pecan
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah.
trees lined up for couple miles, right? Or yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So we get our wood from a local guy, and he goes when they do all their pruning and all that. He gets all
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
and it's I just love it because pecan wood just has that nice soft smoke. It doesn't overpower it.
Yeah.
You know,
sometimes it can be very
yeah.
overpowering. Yeah.
Yeah, which is what I really like about it.
And then what about sauce? Like you were a saucier, man. Like what's what's going on with these sauces?
So we just have two sauces.
Okay.
We have our regular sauce and a spicy version of that same sauce, actually.
Yeah.
But the sauces and the spice rub and the smoke and everything all kind of came up together while I was coming up with all the stuff in my backyard.
Okay. A little more of this, a little less of that type of
Yeah,
stuff.
and I think that I came up with them together, so they really go well together.
Okay.
You know, I didn't like come up with a rub or a sauce, you know, individually. They all kind of develop together, so they all really complement each other.
Okay.
You know, really well. But I would say it's more of a southern style, a little bit more vinegar, tomatoey, vinegary.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I consider us more, you know, we're not any particular barbecue style. We didn't choose to be any particular style, although being my background, like I said, is more southern style. That's kind of more what I lean towards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite barbecue is, you know, those southern pork type barbecue.
Yeah.
It's really my favorite.
I love it all. I
Yeah.
really
No,
love
I mean,
it.
it's all good.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, as you're saying, like I'm just thinking how much I need to learn about barbecue, right? Because
It's a
I'm,
lot.
yeah, it is. It's really cool. You know, my background, like I said, is beer, and you know, I get all the time people are like, I don't like beer. I'm like, you haven't found the right beer,
Right.
Because there's
so
such
much.
range.
It's just broad. Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's exactly the same thing with barbecue.
Yeah.
And that's what,
Yeah.
you know, people ask me, why is your barbecue different? You know, and that's like the hardest question to answer. Plus, it's also the easiest question to
Yeah.
answer. I don't know what makes it different, but I do know what makes it different is that it's a reflection of me.
yeah, yeah,
And that's what is awesome about barbecue is that you can go to 10 different barbecue places and they're all different.
yeah,
And they all have something valid to say.
yeah,
You know, and I always have a difficulty with this, you know, which barbecue's better or worse or whatever. I think it's all, as long as it's prepared properly,
Yeah.
it's all great barbecue. And then
Yeah.
it becomes down to what this individual place is doing. You
Yeah.
know, it's like, it's a reflection of that
Sure.
pitmaster or that chef or that person, you know?
Yeah.
And everybody has their favorites,
Yeah.
you know, and, you know, have 10 favorites.
Yeah.
You know, like when
Yeah.
I'm in the mood for one, I'll go to one. If I'm in the mood for another, I go to the other.
yeah.
Yeah.
We do live in a world of like ranking and this and
Yeah.
that, and that's the best, and this one is the worst, and
Yeah.
it's
You know,
like,
and then
wow.
that's perfectly
Yeah.
fine, and we all love that because it
Yeah.
translates into customers.
Sure.
You know, so we all
Yeah,
love
yeah.
that. You know, but I think that the most important thing really when you're going to eat barbecue is to go in and enjoy what the heck that place is doing.
Yeah,
You know, and just soak it all in and enjoy it. You know, some places are known for their beef. Some places are known for their pork. Some places are known for their lamb.
Yeah.
Some places sauce everything. Some places don't put any sauce on there. Just go in and do it the way they do it.
yeah.
You know,
I
and
like that. Yeah,
and
yeah.
enjoy the heck out of it because that's what makes them them.
Sure.
You know, and that's what makes the person. Barbecue is one of those things. It's like playing a guitar. You know, it's like the personality comes out in it. You know, and barbecue is one of those
Yeah.
things where you can express that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's you know you can,
The
I get
same,
passionate
like
about
with
it.
beer. Like
And
Sure.
beer,
we were
and beer
saying.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, you can taste a beer that you're like, I know what brewer made that.
Right.
You know, like I
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. And that's one of the fascinating things about barbecue. You know, and I
Yeah.
think that's one of the things that draws us, all of us, into it. Is it's just, you know we can put our personality into it.
Yeah.
And Bryan's barbecue just happens to be mine.
Yeah.
You know, and it may be somebody's favorite, and it may not be, and that's perfectly fine with me because it's what I want to put out there. You
Yeah.
know, you know,
Yeah.
and it's the same thing for everybody, and I love going to different places and seeing as long as it's like prepared well,
For sure.
they're all great.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I
Yeah.
agree with you. And that's, I mean, we connect with that immediately, talking about Christina Barada, how everything is, you know, like that's like, I don't know. I just, there's a lot of great stuff in the world. And,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
why not focus on the, you know,
Yeah,
that?
I know.
And yeah.
Focus on the
That's
positive.
that's so exciting about barbecue, and it
Yeah.
energizes me. You know,
But I
do
like,
it.
well, once again, it goes back to your name being on here, right? Bryan's, right?
Yeah.
Bryan's Black Mountain Barbecue is, people are saying, what style was it, right? You know, Caldwell County, I haven't been there. I've heard that that's a good barbecue place, like in,
yeah.
I think Mesa or something. But it's Caldwell County Barbecue, tells you it's Texas style barbecue,
Right.
right? Well, what is Bryan's style? It's Bryan's style, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
You
or
know,
you do Texas style? No, we
That
do
is-
Bryan's style.
We took a little bit of everything, but you know,
He studied every style
Yeah.
and
when-
picked
I-
out what he liked and combined them.
you know, back
dig
when
that.
back when we started, it wasn't as big as it is now.
Barbecue?
What? Barbecue.
Barbecue
Okay.
itself wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always big, you know.
Yeah.
But now it's like a whole thing.
Sure. It's
you know?
culture at
Yeah,
this
it's a
point.
culture.
Yeah.
I mean, it always has been. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But back then, like in Arizona, there wasn't. You know, it was starting.
There was like a handful of
There was a-
places
there were a
when
handful
we
of places.
opened.
Yeah.
Now
You know, there are a
it's
few that
every
have been
corner.
here.
Sure.
There are
Yeah.
a few that have been here for a while, and we just wanted to put our take on it. You know. And,
Yeah.
And since then, it's just grown into like there's barbecue everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, for
know,
sure.
yeah.
Everybody's doing barbecue. Yeah.
You know, it's a thing. It's on TV. You know, it was on.
Chipotle did
Yeah.
brisket.
Right?
I know.
My friend. So all right. So I do dig a good Chipotle burrito once in a while. But I asked my buddy, I'm like, hey, how is the brisket? He's like, it's not that good. So I'm like, I don't know why I wasn't surprised. So next time I go, I'm like, well, I gotta try it. I'm like, it can't be
Right.
that bad. And I ate. I'm like, man, why did I get the chicken? You know? But yeah, no, barbecue's everywhere now. You know, and it's similarities to craft beer as well, right? Where craft beer.
Oh.
Craft beer drinkers were kind of they were always the your pretentious friend in college that you were drinking them
Yes.
under the table on Busch Lights, and
Yes.
he's drinking a couple IPAs. You made fun of him, but now that's grown into like that. That's like the cool kids now, right? Like if craft beer is but barbecue. Kind of that
Same thing, yeah.
the same thing, yeah. Kind of, I won't say an underground type of culture, but more of I guess, a tight knit, less known community. Is that,
Yeah.
am I saying that right?
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's also back in the day. It was way more regional.
Okay.
You know, and now everybody is a mishmash of everything. You know how the world's so much smaller now. you
Sure.
know, so now you have I don't know, like every kind of combination possible.
Yeah. You
You
think
know,
that's good? You think it's a good thing? You think
I
that's
think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. You know,
'Cause
I mean,
that
there's
creates-
always going to be purists to say, okay, I'm specifically, whatever Carolina style or
Yeah.
I'm Texas style, whatever, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then there's people like me or whatever that isn't really didn't really pick a style. I just kind of did what came out.
Yeah.
You know, and then whatever style it is, I have no idea.
Sure.
I have no idea, and I don't even really care to label it. But
Nope,
people
don't need
like
to.
people like labels.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I always tend to say it's more southern, but
Yeah.
it really doesn't have a style.
No,
But that's-
I'm putting on the name of this one, Southern Barbecue Specialist. Bryan.
So yeah,
No,
I don't know, but like I said, my background isn't. I didn't come from the competition circuit or anything
Yeah.
like that. I'm coming from fine dining.
Yeah.
So my take on it, it's a little different than a lot of the other barbecue guys that do it that come from that world. So I guess that's another point of difference. I guess
That's a good thing.
Why we're why we are.
Yeah.
Whether that's good or bad, I don't know. That's up to people that come in and try it. And
Yeah.
whether they do it, but is what it is.
All right. Well, now that we've heard about the guy that makes the food, let's talk to the person that eats the food, right? So, Donna, what are some of the menu highlights that you guys have that kind of you guys are known for right now?
Well, the ribs.
Okay, ribs
I mean,
are that's-
definitely the pork ribs. Yeah,
The ribs
I
the
would
top.
say
Ribs.
the pork ribs, and God, we have a small menu, so it's just kind of like I don't know that.
Well,
I would
just to
say the
jump in one
ribs.
more time, and then
Yeah.
I'll let you
oh,
talk.
No,
No, please,
Oh,
yeah.
A funny story. When I was a kid, barbecue was ribs.
Right.
I didn't know there was anything else.
Ah, sure, yeah.
That's all my family ever cooked, ribs.
yeah.
Pulled pork, what the heck is that?
Yeah.
Brisket, I never ate a brisket till I was probably like 20 years
Yeah.
old, it was ribs.
Yeah.
Ribs. So ribs obviously is my favorite, our favorite, is our main thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway.
Ribs are fantastic. I mean, that's
And
yeah.
pork ribs.
Yeah.
That's really
I'm from Texas, so I ate a lot of beef ribs.
A lot of beef
Yeah.
ribs.
But
yeah.
I love the pork ribs.
Yeah.
So
Definitely. No, I'd say definitely the ribs.
Okay.
I don't know. Everything's delicious, honestly.
I do like that
rotate-
I do like that small menu. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to say small, like it's tight. Like that is tight because you come in and honestly, I mean, if you're busy, like you don't want, you want to have to explain like, okay, this pulled pork sandwich has this in it, and this one has this one in
yeah.
it, and can I get no mayo on that? Hey, can I add? It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
here's what we got.
And two, when you have a small, tight menu, everything is fresh. Everything
Yeah.
is.
That you were saying that was the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing is frozen.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. So
Yeah.
that's part of it too.
Yeah.
When you go to a restaurant and they have 15 pages, something's. How are they keeping all that fresh?
Yes.
Like it's frozen or
Yeah.
it's part cooked or
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yep.
So we wanted a real small, tight menu. So honestly, everything's delicious. I don't know. And there's a little twist on everything that we, all of his recipes. And so I honestly, you can't really compare. People will
like
say,
it. I
well,
like it.
what's the best? It depends on what you like.
Yeah.
It's super good. Everything's amazing.
Yeah.
So
All right.
I don't know. And
Well,
everything's homemade. We make
Well, one thing we
everything
didn't
every day.
talk about was
What?
before we opened the restaurant, the decor. Donna was
Oh.
like before we were even open, she was collecting like signs and things, and all that.
Just
I-
random
Yeah.
stuff.
Just stuff that I knew I wanted, and I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
So it kind of all came together then that way.
Is that why the sign "No Pissy Attitudes" is up there?
Yes.
That was the first thing she collected.
She also collected over there one that says "Be nice or leave."
Yes, I love that
Yeah.
one.
That's right. This is great. No, I love it. I love this place. I mean, I'm really glad I got to sit down and talk with you guys and learn the
Oh,
story.
and speaking of beer, I don't know if you've seen we typically have about 60 craft beers,
Oh wow!
always.
Wow,
Oh, yeah.
nice.
We have
So-
a huge beer selection.
excellent, excellent.
And it's always been, that was one of the main, even before we opened the restaurant, that I knew that we were going to have a huge selection of beer.
He used
Yeah.
to brew beer also. He brewed.
Home brewer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
So
Man, I need to come over for a backyard hangout with you guys. Jeez.
brewing beer, making barbecue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you do much with the local breweries, like the local Arizona breweries?
We do have a beer with our label on it from the Oak Creek Brewing Company in
Oh, okay.
Sedona.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
So you serve it here, and
We
it's
serve
your
here,
own.
yeah.
What
Yeah.
is it?
In bottles. We have a wheat beer and an amber ale.
Bryan's Black Mountain Barbecue branded
Yeah.
beer.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
lot of bees.
Yeah. yeah.
A lot of beer.
Yeah. So we do have that from like I said from
Yeah.
Oak Creek.
That's
Brewery.
really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. How did that get set up?
I just became friends with Fred, the owner of the brewery.
Okay.
He's a great customer. He's been coming in since we opened up, and
Yeah.
we just got talking. And I was like, "Hey, would you be willing to, put a label on something for us?" And
Yeah.
he said, "Yeah, absolutely." So we've been doing it for quite a few years now.
Nice.
Yeah,
I
and it's nice.
dig
It's
that.
nice to have something that everyone's looking for something local and
Yeah.
all that. And I've got a ton of other local beers and breweries in there as well.
Yeah.
But it's nice to be able to point and say, "Hey, we got one with our label on it."
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That helps with the decision paralysis. Sometimes you're like, oh man, there's so many options. We have our own here. Oh hell yeah, I'll take it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
people do want to.
They-
Like if they have the
yeah.
option to do that, and once again, that's another piece of value you guys are providing to your customers, adding that level of experience to this. And this blew me away. Like that guitar behind you actually says "Play Me," so you encourage people to take that thing off of the wall.
It gets played. It's
And
played
play.
every day.
Really?
Yeah.
Somebody
Every
plays,
day.
and it's cool. Like so, it's the Black Mountain Guitar Company here in Queen Creek or Cave Creek maintains that guitar, so they keep
Yes.
it tuned and everything. And
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. He was just.
wow, that's a
They were
cool
just
concept.
in restrung
Yeah,
it
they're
and
awesome.
everything.
They
Yeah, he was just in the other day. They just restrung it. And
cleaned it
Good
up
call.
and yeah,
That's
and
a
then
really
they'll
cool idea.
pop in and
Yeah.
and take care of it for
Yeah.
us. So that's cool.
So if you do come to Cave Creek, check out.
yeah.
Man, just keeps adding levels. I love
Black
that
Mountain.
sign up here behind you guys. So
Well, that's the thing about Cave Creek. It's a small town, and we're just right outside of Scottsdale and
Yeah.
Phoenix, so just not too far away, but we have that whole small town feel,
yeah,
and like you mentioned before, we have rodeo, we have lots of like Western type things going on up
Yeah.
here. Biker type things. We have Bike Week up here. We have all kinds of crazy stuff. Art shows. We're also right next to Carefree, where we always have art shows over there.
okay, yeah,
There's just a lot of history and a lot of really cool stuff going on up Cave Creek all the time. So it's not, come up to Bryan's BBQ and you can do a lot of other stuff.
yeah.
There's great hiking up here. There's, it's really cool.
Right.
This is a great place to start, like get a good base. And then this is one of the true places in Arizona where you can bar hop.
Yes.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
You know, because everywhere else you got like, oh, we'll go to these 2 places and then we'll Uber to this place, or
Oh,
we'll
yeah.
do, you know.
Right.
You can actually bar hop here. Like
Yes.
you can
Oh,
go
yeah.
right up the street and there's lots of places.
Lots
All
of places.
cool outside seating too, you know, like, so
yeah.
I dig it. I dig it.
Oh.
I need to come up here more often.
Oh yeah, we love it up here.
Well, is there anything else you guys want to share? I mean, this has been great. Thank you guys so much for telling your story. And
Oh yeah.
It's just been, it's been
No,
nice.
just come and see us.
all right,
Yeah.
I'm down. I'm totally down. Yeah. All right. What hour, like days you guys are open? I know you're not open Mondays or Tuesdays.
We're closed Mondays and Tuesdays. We're open Wednesday through Sunday, 11 to 8 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yep. And yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you guys so much.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
Yeah. Awesome.